This show contains discussion of general investment strategies for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment advice. Diversification cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses.
It's time for Your Money Puzzle Podcast, with good conversation and realistic solutions to the money puzzle problems we all face every day. Now let's get things started with our hosts. Here's Robert Edgin and Brian Johnson.
Hi there, hello, and welcome to the Money Puzzle Podcast. I am Robert Edgin, and I'll be your guide for the ride for the next few minutes. This is the place for candid conversations about money, finance, investing, and all of the other pieces of the money puzzle that you need to figure out so you can have the financial confidence you deserve and the future that you dream of. It's May 2020 when I'm filming this, and I'm back in the studio instead of my home office, which is a nice change. And the world is starting to reopen. Everyone's hopeful that life is getting back to normal, or whatever the new kind of normal will be. The world is still trying to figure out what's safe to do, when we can get together in groups, and how to make the economy work while everyone is staying at home. There are lots of changes taking place in the country, in our cities, and definitely in the way that our finances work and how we need to think about our money puzzles. But with everything that's changing, that got me thinking about what are the things that are not changing? What are the underlying principles and the foundations for financial success that were true before the pandemic started, that stayed true throughout the whole pandemic, and then will continue to be true, or maybe even more true when we get back to normal? You know, the world is full of uncertainty and doubt and concern these days, but I believe that there are 6 P's of financial success that are still just as certain as they always were, that will replace doubt with financial confidence and will still help you have that future that you dream of. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But let me ask you a question. As bad as things are in the economy and the world these days, do you think that there are people out there who, instead of being harmed by what's going on, will actually be will come out of things okay, or maybe even better off than they were before? I think that yes, there will be a lot of wealth that will disappear because of the pandemic, but make no mistake, there will be a lot of wealth that is created as well. The question is, which side of that coin do you want to be on? And what's the difference between the people who will be financially harmed and the people who will actually profit? The answer, the difference, is preparation. The people who were prepared, who were already working on the 6 P's of financial success, those are the ones who will not only survive being quarantined, but they will actually emerge better financially than they were before, or at the very least, not be financially hurt. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, I don't want to make light of the situation that we're going through, and I don't want you to think that I don't know that it's hard out there, because it's actually harder than it's ever been in any of our lifetimes. And I get that. You know, more people lost their jobs in 2 weeks in March than during the entire 2008 through 2009 recession. If we go all the way back to 1929, during the Great Depression, one of the worst economic times in U.S. history, it took 43 months for the U.S. GDP, gross domestic product, to shrink by 30%. Well, we did that in just 2 months with COVID-19, and we don't know how much further down that's going to go. We're about to have more people on unemployment than ever before. So again, I know that it's bad out there. I know that it's hard and there are more challenges than we've ever faced. But on the other side of every challenge, there lies an opportunity. The difference between the two lies in how you look at it, your perspective, and your level of preparation. I hate to break it to you, but something like this will happen again. We may have another pandemic. We may have another economic meltdown. So it pays to be prepared for whatever life throws at you. I'm excited to get into that conversation. We've got a lot to get through, so I'm skipping the headline today so we can jump right in to the 6 P's of financial success and today's hot topic. So let's get to it. So did you know that there are 6 P's to financial success that anyone can follow and that will work for anyone and everyone. 3 of them are internal, things that you need to address with yourself, and then 3 of them are external, things that you need to address with others. The 6 P's of financial success are your person, your peers, and your process. Those are all the internal things that you need to work on. Then you have to plan, preserve, and protect. Those are the external 3 P's. You can and should address all 6 at the same time. It's not a one after another type of list. And all 6 things are probably things you'll be working on for most of your adult life. But I promise it is well worth it, because when you get these 6 P's running smoothly, you will be prepared for just about anything that life throws at you. And then you know what else happens? When you feel prepared, you have more confidence. You enjoy life more. You see the positive in things, and all of those things, the preparation, the confidence, that positive attitude, they actually transcend your finances. The 6 P's of financial success actually bring success and make you feel more confident and positive about all aspects of your life. And you know what else they do? They rub off on the people around you and help them feel better. And oftentimes it makes them want to be more prepared and work on those 6 P's for themselves. So the first P is your person. It's what makes up the you that is you. Now, I'm not talking about your height or your weight, your personality or your looks or any of that. I'm talking about what makes up your ability to earn, your ability to excel in your chosen career and bring in more dollars, but also what gives you the opportunity to earn or stay employed. You know, there's a quote that I just love, and for the longest time, I thought that it was from Abraham Lincoln. He gets the credit for this quote the majority of the time, but it turns out that it's actually from William Makepeace Thackeray, English novelist back in the late 1800s. And it says, whatever you decide to be a good one. Whatever you decide to be a good one. If you're a grocery store worker, a painter, a farmer, a mechanic, a lawyer, a pilot, a doctor, it doesn't matter. Whatever you decide to be a good one. So my mom has this friend. It's been her best friend pretty much her entire life, and her name is Annie. And Annie has a brother who always loved playing in the dirt and digging ditches. Not what everyone loves, I understand, but that's okay. That's what he loved. Now, my mom has told me this story a number of times of how Annie's brother wanted to keep playing in the dirt and keep digging ditches as he got older, and how his father told him he'd never make any money doing it and he'd never be successful if that's what he chose. Annie's brother, let's fast forward, is now a millionaire multiple times over. He's got multiple houses in different states. He's got a lot of employees who help him run a very successful landscaping company that lets him play in the dirt and dig ditches and make good money doing it. So whatever you decide to be, it doesn't matter what that is. The goal is to be a good one at doing it. Fine. That's great if you want to start a business, but what if you don't? What if you just want to work at a desk in an office that sells paper because you love paper? You know, you might not be trying to make $1 million. You might just want to keep your job when so many people are losing theirs so that you can pay your bills and live your life. So does this still apply to you? I would say yes. In fact, even more so. Have you heard of the 80-20 rule, or Pareto's principle is really what it's called? It basically says that 80% of the results come from 20% of the cause. But it can and has been applied to just about everything and found to be true. For example, 20% of employees produce about 80% of the results. 20% of the salespeople make about 80% of the sales. And the top 20% of earners in the United States, they don't make 80% more income than someone in the bottom 50%. They actually make more than 100% more. But here's where I'm going with this. Whatever you decide to do or be in life, you need to strive to be in the top 20% of people who do it. Now, of course, there are layoffs and businesses that go out of business, but which employees do you think make it through the layoffs? Which employees do you think employers try and work hard to keep around? You better believe it's the top 20%. And I can tell you as an employer, that is definitely true in my business. If anyone is still sitting at their desk selling paper because they love paper, it's probably the employee that was in the top 20%. So what does that mean anyways, the top 20%? Well, it means different things for every business, but if you're in the top 20% of sales or the top 20% of service professionals or the top 20% of manual laborers, it means that you are amongst the group that is producing 80% of the results for your company. Now, being in the top 10% has an even more staggering effect on your income and your wealth and your job stability. It's like the great philosopher Jay-Z once said, "I'm not a businessman. I am a businessman. You are the business. Whatever work you decide to do, whatever you decide to be, you are the business." So how do you improve the business of you? How do you work on that first P, the person of financial success? How do you get into the 20%? Well, going to school is one way. Getting a degree will help elevate you and give you some of those opportunities. Now, I'm not a fan of college debt, but college does have an ROI, a return on investment that can be measured over the course of your lifetime. So what's the investment? Well, it's your college tuition. It's your room and board, your books, and it's everything else that you have to pay for to get that degree. What's your return? That is the income that you make through the career that you choose that you are able to get because of that college degree. Now, the lower you can keep the investment, the costs, the bills, the debts, the costs of college, then the better your return on your investment is. But oftentimes, college is often just the ticket for admission. It just gets you into that interview that you might not even qualify to get. Personally, I think if you're going to go to college, if you're going to get a degree, it should be a specialized degree that will then pay off in a career that's specialized. Things like engineers, scientists, biologists, nurses, doctors, lawyers. Those are specialized degree programs that yield a much higher return on investment. There are a lot of boot camps that you can sign up for and complete in a matter of weeks or months. You can take online courses on just about any topic from anywhere in the world at a fraction of the cost of a college course. You can get designations that are specific to your industry. I am what's called a CHFC, which is a Chartered Financial Consultant. I also have what is called my LACP. That's a Life and Annuity Certified Planner. And I'm finishing up my RIPC, which is a Retirement Income Planning Certification. The letters behind my name are specific to my industry, but they help me improve my ability and my likelihood of getting into the top 20% of my industry. Now, does having those certifications and designations make you valuable or more valuable to your employers? Does it make you more valuable to your customers? Does it make your job more stable and help you earn more? Well, I did a quick Google search for just that question, and the first three things that came up were HR certifications, realtor certifications, and finance certifications. What I found was pretty cut and dry. An HR rep with any certification at all makes 31.6% more than someone in their field without a certification. That's about $20,000 a year more because they have a certification. In the business of real estate, a certification almost doubles the average pay for realtors. It adds about $27,000 a year in average income. And in my chosen field, finance, having a designation adds about 17% to your pay every year. Is it the fact of having letters behind your name? No, it's the knowledge that it gives you. It's the opportunity to do more and improve your skills and be better. So spend a few weeks or maybe a few months learning something new in your chosen profession and then put into the work to make it into the top 20%. All right, a couple more tips and action ideas to improve your person. Spend 10 minutes a day reading about something in your chosen industry, something that can make you better at what you do. If you're a painter, maybe it's on the newest brushstroke techniques. I don't know. But here's the point. 10 minutes a day, every day of the year, gives you 3,650 minutes dedicated to getting better at your craft. Those 10 minutes a day add up to 60 hours a year of industry-specific, performance-enhancing reading and learning. That's like taking a week and a half of your job and dedicating it to getting better at what you do. So it's very powerful. Take another 10 minutes a day and read about something that makes you better at being, an overall good person, or something that you are interested in, something about money or relationship or health and fitness. The results will be just as amazing as reading for 10 minutes about your industry. You'll get better, much better over the course of a year at whatever you're reading about, because you've spent 60 hours dedicated to improving. In the end, you are your biggest asset. Your human capital, your earning power, is what funds all of your other assets. So work on improving your person every single day. All right, that was the first P. The second P of financial success is your peers, or the people that you spend your time with. Now, wait a second. How are your peers an internal factor of success? And why do my friends or the people that I hang out with even matter? Well, those are great questions, so let's break it down. Have you ever heard of the expression, you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most or spend the most time with? That came from Jim Rohn back in the day, but there's been quite a few studies that back it up. It relates to the law of averages, which says that the result of any given situation will be the average of all of the outcomes. Or, put another way, if you average out various things about a group of 5 people, you'll get an average income, average number of kids, average weight, average level of happiness, and so on and so forth. And if you look at those average numbers for the 5 people that you spend most of your time with, it will be relatively close to your income, your average number of kids, your weight, your level of happiness. Now, before you go doubting it, think about it for a minute. Humans in general want to fit in. We want to be a part of the in crowd, or at least most of us do. So if you hang out with people who are passionate about finance, what conversations do you think you're going to have? What are you spending your time thinking about and figuring out? Probably financial stuff. If you hang out with a group of people who love fitness and exercise and going to the gym, what kind of conversations do you think you're having? What are the activities that you're doing when you're getting together? They're probably related to fitness. What happens when you talk about and think about and do activities based around a certain topic? Well, you become more knowledgeable. You get more involved and dive in deeper to the content. You spend time focusing on it, and anything you focus on grows and improves. So does this mean that you should only be friends with nerdy money geeks who get together for Financial Equation Friday? No, even I think that sounds horrible, and I am a financial geek, but you do need people, whether it's mentors, family, or friends, who will challenge you and make you better, thereby raising your average or helping you to maintain a high one. You need people who can provide a different perspective, who can help you solve the problems that you're having. So if you want to improve your finances or be more successful, you want successful people to bounce ideas off of. Now, I think it's fun to be the smartest person in the room, but if you're always the smartest person in the room, you are hurting yourself, or at least you are limiting your opportunities to grow. By striving to hang out with and surround yourself with people that you want to be like, you tend to think about and do things more like they do, which in turn gets you closer to being more like the group. It raises your average. I have some great friends from the past who have very different lives than me. They jump around from job to job. They never get ahead or catch a break. And they're usually struggling financially. They're great people. They're a lot of fun to be around. They were just always more focused on screwing around and having fun than putting in the time and effort to be successful. I'm not judging. Everyone gets to make their own choice for life. But when we get together, we're not talking about money. We're not figuring out how to get ahead or talking about new business ventures. We're not talking about anything that helps me grow or helps them grow unless I start that conversation. So if I have a business situation that I need help with, I can't go to them. I can't run it by them because they just can't provide that level of help that I need. So maybe you have different groups of friends. Maybe you have some money friends who have the same ideas about success and money and happiness and life as you do. My best friend is a business owner. He's an investor. He owns rental properties. He's great with money. But that's not why he's my best friend. We do have an interest in all of those things, and we both focus on those things in our life. So we have a lot of common things to discuss and talk about. But he's also married with 2 kids. He loves snowboarding and the outdoors. He's always seeking out new adventures. And coincidentally, I'm all of those things as well. We share the same beliefs. We share the same values, and we help each other be better at the things that matter to us. So don't forsake your friendships to people who have different goals than you. Maybe you can be one of their 5 friends or people who brings up their average. But also consider finding people to be around who are where you want to be. And if you still don't believe me, let me tell you about just one study and some surprising findings. This research was done by Nicholas Christakis and James Fowler. It was turned into a book called Connected: How Your Friends Affect Everything You Feel, Think, and Do. Now, they examined research that started all the way back in 1948 and still continues through today. And what they discovered is that it's actually not just your 5 closest people that make up your average. It's actually expands into their group and their group and their group that they hang out with. So, for example, if a friend of yours becomes overweight, you have a 45% chance of becoming overweight. But if a friend of your friend becomes overweight, science says that you still have a 20% chance of becoming overweight. And if one of their friends, a friend of a friend of a friend, becomes overweight, your likelihood is still 10%, even if you have never met that friend of a friend of a friend. The same is true for everything else, from smoking to finance to happiness. This is crazy, but over a 3-decade-long study, they found that if your friend's friend is a happy person, you are 6% more likely to be happy. And you've never even met that person before. Now, 6% may not sound like much, but another study linked to happiness found that giving someone $10,000 in cash only increased their happiness by 2%. So having a friend of a friend who's happy can make you 6% happier. That's pretty darn impressive. Now, what makes this an internal factor, not an external one, is the fact that you have to choose to spend time with those types of people. You have to internally choose who your peers are and who you're going to surround yourself with. So choose wisely, because it makes a big impact on your success. All right. The third P of financial success is your process. This is where the real magic happens, because this is where you go from learning to doing. Your process is how you do things and how you get things done. It's the systems that you use. The process that you use are what provides the reward for the work that you do on your 6 Ps. It's how you get more free time in a simpler, easier life. In fact, having good processes and systems in place actually allow you to be more lazy. If I'm being honest, the process side of things, this is my personal biggest weakness. It's the area that I need to improve the most. I love the process part of things, but it's the hardest area for me to get right personally. But since I know how important it is, I keep working on it bit by bit, a little each day. Your process will allow you to get to a whole new level, because it will create the free time needed to work on that next level. So you have to get organized. Have you ever watched Top Chef or Iron Chef or any of those cooking shows where the best of the best go head to head to see who can make the best meal? Have you ever noticed that none of those chefs, those masters of their trade, ever have to ask where something is? Even though it's not their kitchen, they still don't have to ask because chefs know where the knives go. They know where the spices go. Could you imagine if they had to take time to find things and figure out where they went? That never happens because they're organized for their work. There's a place for everything and everything is in its place. They have a process that makes them better. Being organized and knowing what you need to get done before you try to head off and do it will make you more efficient and allow you to do more. I have this conversation with entrepreneurs all the time. You need to schedule your tomorrows today so that you don't wake up unemployed. What I mean by that is that if you are a salesperson and you show up for work not knowing what you're going to do, who you're going to call, what needs to get done, and in what order, you're going to spend most of your day doing nothing or looking for things to do. You're essentially unemployed for that day. And how much money do you make when you're unemployed? Nowadays, with the coronavirus, you actually make some, but normally not that much or nothing at all. So a process that I recommend that I follow is planning my tomorrows today. Every night, I make a list of all of the things that I need to do to move closer to achieving my goals, things that I can do tomorrow, things that I need to do to be successful the very next day. Then I prioritize them from the highest value activities to the lowest value activities. And then those are the things that I work on the next day. I show up employed. Now, those are never the only things that I work on. Things come up every single day that are not on my list, but I use any and all free time during the day to work on my list and get things done. It's a process that I follow. And you should have lots of processes like that. I know that every Tuesday and Saturday, I need to check my budget and balance my bank accounts. It takes me 10 minutes a day, 2 times a week, and then I know I'm on track. Another way to implement processes into your life is to automate as much as possible. Set your bills on auto pay so you don't have to spend an hour a month writing checks. Set your investments into your retirement accounts on automatic. That way you never have to question if it was done or decide to do it or figure out where the money's going to come from because it happens automatically. So if $400 is going to transfer from your checking account into your IRA on the 15th of each month automatically, you're not going to skip it because you found a new guitar that you want to buy. Automating forces you to stick to your processes. It forces you to accomplish more and get closer to your goals, and that is a good thing. So look at anything and everything that you can automate that will keep you moving in the right direction. There's 1,000 little hacks that you can do and processes that you can implement to be more successful in your finances and in your life in general. I'm really getting into the app Asana. It's basically a glorified checklist and project tracker, but it reminds me to do all of the things that I need to do. It's just another process that I use to organize, prioritize, and automate the things that I need to put into action. But you can do the same thing with a whiteboard or a daily note card. Whatever it is, find a way to develop and implement processes and systems. We talked about the first 3 Ps, your person, your peers, and your process. The more effort you put into them, the greater the rewards you'll see and the more financial success you'll experience. So you should start working on them today, and you'll continue working on them probably for the rest of your life. But that's okay, because that's what keeps you moving in the right direction. Next time, we're going to look at the other P's, the external factors of financial success. And those are plan, preserve, and protect. I'll have my business partner, Brian, in with me for that. So that should be a lot of fun. But that's it for today and this episode. I really do hope that you and your families and everyone you know are all doing okay. And I hope that you're all healthy and safe and staying virus free. If you have not reviewed your own financial situation or your investment portfolio in a while, if you have not talked to your investment person since the quarantine started, now is the perfect time to talk to one of us. Let's get together for a virtual cup of coffee. We'll have a 20-minute conversation about what you want your money to do for you and how to best make sure that that happens. And just for doing that, we're going to send you a retirement analysis at the end of the conversation. Also, if you've got questions that you'd like to discuss or ask us, email those over to us at questions@yourmoneypuzzle.com or give us a call at the office to set up a quick consultation at no cost to you. 719-685-8585. All right, that's it. Until next time, be safe, have some fun, and go do something to improve your money puzzle. Your future self will thank you for it. Talk to you soon.
Registered representative of and securities offered through Securities Management and Research, Inc., SM&R. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through BFC Planning, Inc. Edgen Insurance and Financial Services, Johnson Financial Services, SM&R, American National Family of Companies, and BFC Planning are independent entities. There are risks involved with investing which may include market fluctuation and possible loss of principal value. Particular investments may not be suitable for certain situations. Carefully consider the risks and possible consequences involved prior to making an investment decision. Our firm does not provide legal or tax advice. Be sure to consult with your own legal and tax advisors before taking any action that may have tax implications.